Hey everybody, I was down in my basement and I noticed that my basement window screen had been chewed upon by neighborhood critters, maybe some mice or some squirrels or whatever, and they've really done a number on this screen. And it's important to be able to open your screen, open your windows in your basement to let some air get in there, and it helps keep things dry. And it helps with mold control in your basement. It's important to be able to open windows and get some airflow through your basement. And but you can't really open your window and leave it exposed to the outside elements with these huge gaping holes in your screen. It's important to be able to fix that, and it's not a big job. It's not a big job at all. All you need to do is get a roll of the screen material, and you can get it at the hardware store. And it's important to have a roll that's just laying around the house. And also, it comes in handy to upgrade your screens because it gives really poor curb appeal when all your screens look kind of faded and ugly. So every few years, it may be something to think about, just changing out your screen material. This is a darker screen material. I find that looks good from the street. And so basically, if you flip this screen around, you'll see that there is in this case, it's a rubber wedge. And that wedge holds this screen material in. So you get yourself like an awl, and you find the end of the screen material here, which they usually tuck into a corner. So there it is right there. That's the end of the screen material. I started taking it out earlier, and I thought, you know what, I should put it back in to make a video. So I've already started getting it out, and just kind of pry it out. It should come out relatively easily. If it comes apart in pieces, and you're just pulling wads of wedge material out, you can buy this also at the hardware store. It's really cheap. And just kind of pull that out gently. And it should all just come out just like that. So simple. Just like that. It's all coming out in one piece so I can reuse it. Lay that to the side. Now the old screen just pops right out of there, just like that. So simple. Alright, there's the old screen. And maybe clean out any debris you find in there. I just kind of, look it over, make sure everything's okay. Clean out all the dead bugs and the insects that have crawled in there and died. Maybe take a brush to it and some soap and rinse it out, let it dry. Lay it flat. Take your new material. Cover it up like that. Alright. And here's how you do this. It's so simple. You start with if you're going to reuse it. Now I used an awl punch to get it out. You don't want to use this to put it back in because you'll end up damaging that wedge and wrecking it. You don't want to do that. You want to use a blunt object, something like a Phillips screwdriver. And you start back at the corner. Lay it down like that. Right? And what you want to do is start in the middle of a side. Start there. Okay, because you don't want this to look all wrinkled and full of valleys and so on. So you want to start here. And just kind of punch that back in there like that. Like that. So simple. Then you go to this side. Pull it a little bit tight. Not too tight, but a little bit tight. You lay this out there like that. Okay, you know what we did? We started on the wrong side because this is not a perfect square. An evenly sided square. These sides have different lengths. There we go. That's better. So instead of starting on that side, we'll start on this side. And we'll punch that down in there. Then we'll pull this tight here. Okay. Line that up. Okay. Line that up. And then you want to come to this side. And the reason we're doing side to side is because this is how you make the screen look good in the frame. Alright. Okay. Go there. Punch that down in there like that. Then you bring this one. Okay. Tighten it up a bit. And you do that there. Right? And you pull this tight here. Right? Make sure that's all going to go down in the groove when you go to finish it up. Okay? Pull that tight like that. And you punch that down in there. Right? Now you got all 4 sides secured, right? And that'll be perfectly flat in the frame of the screen. And you work it out, and you just kind of punch that all through there like that, working it into that slot. Until it's all in there nice and even. There's actually a tool that you can buy that does this, but a Phillips screwdriver does the same kind of job. These are all just regular tools everybody has in their garage. All the real men out there anyway. This is a job for real men, by the way. If you don't have these kinds of tools in your garage, you have to go out and get them, so you can become a member of the Real Man's Club here. You see how that Phillips screwdriver, that slot there, fits nicely over top of this this rubber wedge here. And as you drop that down in there, it's tightening up this wedge down into the slot there. And I find I've done a bunch of these around my house over the years, and I find that this the Phillips screwdriver works best for driving this thing in there. Just make sure it's all tucked down in there nice and neat. Just like that. Keep the critters out of your house. Looks like we got too much here. How did that happen? We stretched it a bit. That's how that happened. We'll pull that out of there. And drive that in there like that. And we'll probably have to cut the end off that, because now we've got too much wedge for this job here. This is the wedge that was in it, so I think probably what happened was I stretched it down in there and lengthened it. Now we're left with an inch too much on that side. That's okay though. Better to have too much than too little. Got a knife with us here. And we'll just cut that end off there. Careful you don't cut your screen material. See how nicely that fits in there? Just run it down in there. Careful you don't cut your screen. But your screen is supposed to be a barrier between the wildlife outside and then what you do is you take a knife, you cut just above that wedge, and it just cuts the material nicely. Just run it along that wedge there. If you're really concerned about the critters getting into your basement window, or if you want more security, You can actually use a metal mesh that they make for these, and they last longer, and it's not something that most critters can chew through, or it's not something through which most critters can chew, if we're going to be grammatically correct here. And we'll just cut this off. Oh, this is looking so good. Looks like we just bought this at the store. There we go. Now you don't want to pull on it because it'll pull out your wedge. There you go. We just replaced the screen on this window, and you can see how it's perfectly straight. The lines are all even, they're not crooked with the frame, and it looks really good. Thanks for watching, everybody.